most of us have heard of the experiment where, if you take a frog and you put it into a pot of boiling water, it'll instantly jump out. However, if you take another pot of water that's room temperature and you put a frog in and you slowly turn the temperature up, then the frog will stay in there until it boils itself to death, because the temperature of the water is rising slowly. And so what is happening right now is that we are like that frog. We are literally being boiled to death. And the left, they are assisting in turning up the knob to helping us to get boiled that much quicker, and they don't realize it. They think they're being progressive, but they're assisting in boiling themselves as well, boiling out our fundamental freedoms, our freedom to free speech. That is one of the things that makes our country one of the greatest countries in the world. In my opinion, America is the greatest country in the world. Sure, I mean, there's a lot of room for improvement. Doesn't mean it's perfect by any means, but one of the greatest things about our country is that our fundamental right to free speech, and that is being taken away from us rapidly. It's obvious. The censorship is just being taken out of control. Just yesterday, someone that I follow, Paul Stamets, said one of his. He's just a guy who is a mushroom researcher. All kinds of medicinal health benefit mushrooms, not even like the hallucinogenic mushrooms. He does research those as well, but he's dedicated his life to studying the health benefits of many different mushrooms, like lion's mane mushroom and reishi and chaga, a lot of mushrooms that can be bought as over-the-counter supplements for various different health purposes. And one of his videos, he was just doing a video on the temperatures of various different mushrooms out in the wild, and his video was flagged and taken down for not, meeting community standards and, not fitting in so that, it could fit within being a safe space. And this is due to the algorithms of what are being created on social media and YouTube to just, quickly flag down anything that is even a little bit, on the alternative side, or anything that can even, remotely be offensive or tickle anybody the wrong way. And why this is so dangerous is because, people say, oh, YouTube and all these social media companies are private companies. They can do what they want. Yeah, that's true, but they essentially have the monopoly. And at the levels that they are playing at, the thing is that by specifically censoring certain topics that they don't agree with, they're able to help create a political agenda. They can get people to only see here and only put out, only allow acceptable content that meets whatever agenda they're pushing, which is exactly, which is sad that is going on right now, is that content that, is being put out that they don't agree with at all is being taken down. And unfortunately, it's getting more aggressive, and it's getting crazier. I noticed this censorship about 2 years ago, and since then it's just got out of control. It's gotten worse and worse and worse, and really it tends to come more from the left. I don't identify myself as on the right or the left, as a Republican, a Democrat. I'm not a Trump worshiper by any means, but overwhelmingly it tends to be the people on the left that are more for taking away our fundamental constitutional rights. And that is where, it's not good, because it's taken away our freedom. And if you think about it, what is the opposite of freedom? Right? If you're not free, then you're a slave. One of my favorite movies, Braveheart, what were they fighting for? That great scene, at the end where they're all ready to walk out, and Mel Gibson turns around and he gives them this great speech and he says, freedom, we're fighting for freedom. Freedom, that's one of the greatest things, if not the greatest thing in the world, to be able to have the freedom, to be able to say and do what you want, as long as it's not harming someone else, is inciting violence on someone else. Yeah, that kind of speech, I can understand not being allowed, but we should all have the freedom to have our own opinion, to be able to speak on various different topics. That's what allows us to grow as a civilization, to be able to debate, to be able to discuss things, to be able to learn from different points of view and come to collective common grounds, to be able to move forward. But when all of a sudden it's that one surefire way to win a debate is to, be able to shut down the debate, not allow anybody with an opposing point of view or opinion to be able to speak up. And it's gotten really out of control and really sad, and I don't think the left even understands what they're doing. I don't think they realize that they're boiling themselves as well, that it's going to get to the point where they're going to see it come back to bite them in the rear as well, when they realize, wow, you know what, I miss being able to have a different opinion on different things, and I miss being able to talk about different things. It's got to get to the point where we're only allowed to have our own opinion in our head. I mean, you won't be able to post or do a video on anything that's mildly alternative or controversial, and you're just gonna have to keep your thoughts to your head, which is basically like the book 1984 by George Orwell. I don't know how he knew the future, what was coming so well, but it's crazy. And so this is really important, especially as an entrepreneur. A lot of entrepreneurs aren't speaking up about this, and people that are in the entrepreneurial space. That's why on this channel I want to speak up about important topics as well, because it's important as an entrepreneur to be able to have freedom, to be able to run your business in a free and an effective manner within the society. I don't want it to get to the point where it's like we're living in Cuba. I want to be able to. I like being an entrepreneur, and I like being able to have freedom in my life, and so I think it's important to speak up about these things, and to fight for these fundamental freedoms. Because if everybody just sits back and nobody does anything about it, then we're going to be like that frog, just sitting there, just slowly getting boiled, and which I don't want to be boiled like a frog. I want to keep on hopping around and living a good life, and so it's gotten out of control. The censorship, the channels and the pages that are getting taken down just for speaking their own opinion, or for speaking something that's mildly offensive, or for having dark humor. I mean, come on, lighten up. Those who are going to be offended are going to get offended, but that doesn't mean just because something is offensive, or even fake news, who gets to determine what's fake news and false news? Even something is fake news or offensive doesn't mean that it should be censored. It should still be allowed, even if it is legitimately fake news, because that is free speech. Again, that's fundamental. I don't like fake news. I like learning the truth. And I don't like when somebody offends me, but someone can do videos on YouTube blasting me. It doesn't mean that I feel that it should be taken down. They have a right to have their own opinion. They have a right to think I'm an idiot and totally disagree with me. That's fine. It doesn't mean that they should be censored and blocked and be removed just because they have a different opinion from me. I like to learn from other people that have different opinions from me. That's how we grow, and that's how we get better. And being an entrepreneur, this is important. If you want to have a good future for yourself and your family, you need to fight for what is right. You need to stand up, and you need to speak your voice on these important types of topics. So hopefully we'll see some change, that enough people speak up about this, so that way it doesn't get too bad to where we don't have a place to talk anymore. So anyways, guys, leave your thoughts on this, comments below, and until next time, have a great day, a great week, a great month, a great year. Let's make it a great life. See ya.